The year 2022 has arrived, and many can't wait to find out what it will bring to the world. Maybe this year will be a turning point for all mankind, or maybe it'll be many times better than last year. The predictions can help us find the answer to this question. Let's check them out. This is Infinity, and today I'll share with you some ancient predictions and prophecies that might come true in 2022. A terrible catastrophe. Michel de Nostradame, also known as Nostradamus, was a French pharmacist and alchemist famous for his prophecies. Although he lived in the 16th century, he was able to look far into the future, and he did it creatively using the language of allegory and innuendo. He formalized his predictions in quatrains. So what can we expect in 2022 on the basis of his predictions? The French oracle predicted that a great fire will rain from the sky. If you decipher it, it can be very simple. An asteroid may fall to Earth. However, some commentators point out that Nostradamus often made such predictions, and we cannot be 100% sure that it'll happen in 2022. Asteroids don't fall that often. It's possible that the words of Nostradamus about fire are a reference to some other event associated with fire. Let's say large-scale forest fires, which unfortunately often occur in different parts of the world. The power of artificial intelligence. We live in a world of high technology. They're evolving so rapidly that sometimes it's difficult to even tell what surprises to expect from technology in the next year. Nevertheless, Nostradamus seems to have succeeded in predicting the development of artificial intelligence almost 5 centuries ago. But don't be too quick to rejoice, because humanity may be in serious danger. The moon in the full of night over the high mountain, the new sage with a lone brain sees it, by his disciples invited to be immortal, eyes to the south, hands in bosoms, bodies in the fire, is what one of the notes of the eminent Frenchman says. Such a prophecy can be interpreted as a hint to the rapid growth of artificial intelligence technology, where the immortal disciples, most likely robots, will be able to replace humans on Earth. It's interesting that in August 2021, Elon Musk announced that Tesla is developing a robot humanoid, and its prototype could appear just in 2022. According to the head of the company, TeslaBot will be able to perform dangerous or, on the contrary, metonymus and boring tasks. For example, it'll be able to go shopping. Isn't this the beginning of what the French oracle predicted? Baba Vanja was a world-famous Bulgarian clairvoyant who had the unique gift of predicting the most important events in the world. The visionary's been dead for 25 years now, but her predictions continue to be listened to. Moreover, she's left quite a few predictions for this year as well. Let's move on to one of them. We haven't yet coped with one virus, which continues to mutate intensively as the world may be overtaken by other diseases unknown to science. According to Baba Vanja's prophecies for this year, scientists will discover a new virus in Siberia in 2022. Going deeper, this prediction refers to a glacier that, according to the Bulgarian clairvoyant, will melt due to climate change this year. The grimness of the prediction lies in what's inside that glacier. Once it melts, the world will learn of a new virus that humanity hasn't yet encountered and will struggle to cope with. So the coronavirus is not the end of pandemics? Apparently, people have to learn to live under the new conditions and just wait for all these scourges to pass. But these are not the troubles that Baba Vanga predicted. For example, she predicted that in the current year, in many cities of the world, people will suffer from thirst. Mankind will know how difficult it is to live with a lack of sufficient drinking water. India, in addition to drought and thirst, would also experience famine due to extreme heat. Natural disasters. Baba Vanga predicted that 2022 would be the year when we would see an increase in natural disasters, particularly earthquakes and tsunamis. This makes me feel very uneasy. We wouldn't like to see any cataclysms in the world, but if you refer to the fact that Baba Vanga predicted a tsunami in Southeast Asia in 2004, then you involuntarily think about possible scenarios. By the way, on December 26, 2004, there really was an earthquake in the Indian Ocean, which caused the most destructive tsunami in modern history. Let's hope that this prediction for the current year will remain just a prediction. But Baba Vanga wasn't the only one to make such predictions. Nostradamus also wrote about the threat of a natural disaster in 2022. According to his prediction, the land of the rising sun will suffer most, as it will happen in October. Experts have found a quatrain which says that Japan could be hit by a major earthquake. The oracle wrote that a calamity in the depths of Asia would happen in the middle of the day. If an earthquake does start, it will cause terrible damage and loss of life. So let's hope the soothsayer was wrong here too. Baba Vanga, by the way, had some good news. For example, she claimed that in 2022 there will definitely not be a world war. Baba Vanga predicted that this year would see 3 giants unite and a strong dragon come to power. She said that some people will have red money and that she sees numbers 100, 5, and many zeros. What 3 giants could she have had in mind? Actually, the question is not so simple. In the 10th quatrain, Michel de Nostradame may have prophesied that in 2022 there will be more famine in the world because of the increase in armed conflicts. As a result, population migration will increase. Nostradamus allegorically says that 7 times as many migrants will appear on the shores of Europe. Change of political leader. In 2022, according to experts who interpret Nostradamus' text, the world will lose a prominent political leader. The sudden death of the first person will lead to changes and may put another on the throne. The prophecy goes something like this, but who would it be? Some interpreters have suggested that it might be Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea. Nostradamus predicted that in 2022, the great city will be besieged. Around the big city, there will be soldiers stationed in the fields and in the suburbs. Interpreters have several candidates for this, London and Paris, but lean more toward the latter. Forecast from Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce was a famous American clairvoyant and healer who was also called the Sleeping Prophet because he made all of his predictions in a trance-like state. He's known for predictions of the collapse of the Soviet Union, the timing of World War II, and the September 11th attacks. Despite the fact that he was gone as early as 1945, he left enough predictions for various nations. Some of Edgar Cayce's predictions apply to Russia. If we believe the American mystic, then nothing extraordinary will happen in Russia in 2022. In other words, everything in the country will run its course and develop in a generally positive direction for the state and its citizens. He also claimed that Russia will give the whole world the idea of universal brotherhood and justice. The country, he said, would be virtually unaffected by natural disasters. All of these predictions were made quite a long time ago. But what about newer predictions? For example, Calvin College professor Larry Molnar has made his own predictions for the future. According to him, in 2022, there could be a major collision of 2 stars in the Cygnus constellation. It'll be so bright that it can be observed by all inhabitants of the Earth without special instruments for several days. The Young Prophet. A young Indian named Abhijit Anandis, known as a new prophet. He became famous after the prediction of 2019 when he announced a terrible disease that would overtake thousands of people around the world. At the time, no one paid attention to such a prediction, but in 2020, the world was overwhelmed by a disease with which mankind is still struggling. But how does a teenager make predictions? It turns out that he calculates the position of the planets and their location relative to each other and uses their influence to make predictions within the framework of classical astrology. He told what awaits mankind in 2022. According to his vision, the period between December 2021 and April 2022 will be very important and can affect the next 400 years. Meanwhile, near the Peruvian capital of Lima, local shamans perform their traditional rituals to look into the future and beg the spirits for mercy in the current year. They also made several predictions for 2022, including that the coronavirus would persist for some time, but in a milder form, and that after a while it would finally disappear. Prominent American billionaire Bill Gates is rather optimistic about 2022. He believes that the pandemic can end this year, even despite the new, rapidly spreading strain. The main thing is for the world community to take all necessary steps to fight the virus. Bill Gates believes that 2022 will be the year when many of the people will finally enter a new normal after the pandemic. Moreover, he's convinced that humanity will make a number of scientific breakthroughs this year. Let's all see what happens in 2022 after all. That's all, guys. Share your own predictions for this year in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you later.